Hello and welcome to your astrological vibrations for Monday, October 6th, 2025 by Gaia Blooming. I am Mimi, and our energy mantra for today is I am, we are, the revolution. So here we are. We have a full moon in Aries this evening. The full moon reaches its peak at 8:47 p.m. Pacific time. So for some of you watching, it is early Tuesday that you're going to be experiencing this full moon blast, this full moon energy. And a full moon in Aries is usually pretty spicy. Now, to be fair, as I look at the astro, there's not a huge amount of energies feeding into the moon. However, there is definite spiciness in the air, in the astro, that we're going to be feeling as we build into this full moon, but also even after the full moon. So part of the spiciness is we have Mercury shifting today. I have been having my lights blink, and I'm like, why is my light blinking periodically? Oh yeah, Mercury is shifting signs. Hello, thank you, Astro Squad. So Mercury shifting signs. Mercury is moving into Scorpio this morning, 9:41 a.m. Pacific time. We will have Mercury easing into Scorpio, and with that, creating a yod focused on Mercury in Scorpio. Interesting. We also have the sun today, for the most part of the day, hanging out at 13 degrees, which is that revolution, evolution, energy degree. So there's some spiciness. We also have just really interesting astro entanglements. Like I said, we have a yod going on with Mercury and Scorpio. Feeding into that is Uranus and Neptune, interestingly enough. And a yod is like the finger of God, the finger of fate, being like, this is important. Are you paying attention to this? So Mercury and Scorpio is important. And I will say the astro kind of doubles down on that later this month when, well, it's actually going to be next month, when Mercury goes retrograde and will retrograde back into the sign of Scorpio. So we definitely have some energies of that to focus on. One last little spiciness to mention is we're building to Mercury square Pluto. That's not going to be till Tuesday, but we're going to be feeling that building with the full moon. And this combination can be reactive. Aries energy is ruled by Mars, and Mars is reactive. It is always looking for action, and sometimes it's a reaction. And Scorpio is also ruled by the sign of Mars, as well as Pluto. And so Scorpio energy, where we have, thank you lights, the sign of Mercury today, Lilith hanging out, and Mars, can also be strongly reactive energy. So let's start with the full moon, and then we'll look at this Mercury Scorpio energy. So like I said, this full moon in and of itself, it is at 14 degrees Aries, directly opposing the sun at 14 degrees Libra. So there's relational lessons in this full moon. But the thing is we're never really here to directly teach anybody else, unless maybe your teachers in school, but still. I'm thinking more relationally. A lot of times we're really here to be ourselves and learn from and through each other. And that's the sense that I get in this full moon energy, is how much can you, embrace yourself. Now I'm doing this because the Sabian symbol for 14 degrees is something like a snake coiling next to a man and a woman. And we are in the year of the snake. We have had snakishness. We have had shedding of everything, transformation, up the wazoo kind of energies. But snake energy can also represent like the Kundalini energy within ourselves, and that's kind of what I'm getting. Kundalini energy is something that begins at the base and winds its way up through your chakras. That's a very, 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 very basic description of it. But it's part of what comes online as we rise up in ourselves, as we rise up in our true energetic power. Thank you, lights. It's like getting winked at is what it kind of feels like. Rise up into our true energetic power. Some would even say it's part of the whole ascension energy. But regardless, that was what came to mind as I looked at the Sabian symbol for this full moon. And there is so much energy in the sign of Aries right now. Neptune, Ceres, the moon, this full moon, and Chiron. Not to mention Saturn and Neptune, which will be back. I know Neptune's not gone yet, but will be back in 2026. And so all of these lessons in Aries are lessons around who we are. And even the Libra energy is reminding us who we are in connection to anything and everything. And so I really think that this is the focus of this full moon energy, is who you are. And I've been talking about this so much, but like shedding off like a snake, the layers that we've put on, layers of survival that we've put on. So there's definitely some me and we energies. Now this can also be interesting energy for relationship. Over the weekend, we did have Venus and the South Node connect, which could have brought up some old stuff. So this full moon, there may be some relationships on shaky ground being released. Full moon energy is like a harvest, but it's also a release. You can feel that as the energy rises up in you, as the full moon builds, and then you have that relief after it calms back down somewhat, after a full moon energy. And so be aware of that. Again, like I said earlier, Aries energy is also really reactive. Light winks. And so we want to be really aware of that in our connection with anybody with this energy. Now, like I said, adding to all of this is Mercury in Scorpio. Like I said, it moves into Scorpio at 9:41 a.m. And at the time of the full moon, Mercury will still be at 0, which can heighten communication snafus, communication, technology, weirdness. 0 energy is always wonk. So that's just feeding into the wonkiness of it all. We also have Mercury and Neptune reaching their inconjunct point somewhat before the full moon energy. And this is interesting because Neptune holding space at 0 is reminding us that we are spirits masquerading as humans with human masks. Both the spirit part and the human self part are important for our Earth experience. And Neptune at 0 degrees as well can get a little cloudy, can get a little fuzzy, but still is like, remember who you are, who you came to be. That mission, that energy is so important. Now, Scorpio and Mercury is very interesting. I was born with Scorpio, or Mercury and Scorpio. I can't say that it is the easiest mercurial position. It definitely has psychic experience. It can be paranoid. It's willing to do the work. It's willing to do the shadow work. It's willing to go into the darkness. But one of the things that we have to remember with Mercury and Scorpio is not to just stay in the darkness. And I think this is a really important message for all of us right now, as there's so much stuff happening in the world. Thank you, lights. I'm beginning to like my light wings. Don't get stuck there. Don't get stuck in the dark, in the evil, in the hatred that is everywhere. I think it's good to be aware of what's happening, but not to get stuck there. Because getting stuck there can sink your battleship. So with Mercury and Scorpio, part of your work is going to be knowing what boundaries you need to put in place for you in regards to communication, in regards to the media, in regards to everything bombarding your mind. It's also knowing how to pull your mind out of the swamp. That has been a lifelong lesson for me. I know that I show up here positive because this is my work. Like, this is my work. Because my mind, like, I literally think at times it is somewhat histrionic. Like, it can be really intense. It's very intense in there as a Mercury, Scorpio person. So, being able to have those boundaries, but also knowing how to alchemize the fear, the survival layers, the angst that Mars-Pluto energy can bring to Mercury. Again, I can't say that this is the easiest Mercury placement, but there is no astro placement that's just all sunshine and rainbows and no challenges, and there's no astro placement that's all challenge and doesn't have its benefit. And learning how to rise from the shadows, from wild mind, is a potent and powerful tool. So like I said, this is also a yod, and I do feel like the yod, the finger of God saying this is important, is like knowing how to alchemize these shadows. Thank you. Mercury in Gemini being part of what is feeding in, knowing that everything that's happening in this world and the media and the communication that comes from it is all a game of telephone. And we know about this much about a story that's like this, right? Like, we know, I would say, maybe 10% about what is actually even going on. Even those who like to do those deep dives, we still really don't know. A lot of it is suspicion, or what is that word? Theories, in essence, right? Our own way of trying to understand the evolution that's happening. So we have that, and we have Neptune feeding in, and Neptune reminds us there is a lot of illusion being utilized at this time. And so we just want to be aware of that. Again, in figuring out our own discernment, Mercury in Scorpio is for sure a psychic detective. You can go down all the rabbit holes. I promise you, I have. And I started young. My dad would be listening to really interesting things when I was a teenager. Rabbit holes. Some people would call them conspiracy theories. So I've been through these places. And again, you have to know what works for you. And so that's going to be important. Now, like I said, full moon happens at basically 8:45 p.m. Pacific time Monday. But coming in on Tuesday, we've got that Mercury-Pluto square, Mercury-Uranus. Sleep may still be difficult after the full moon. We're going to be in that full moon over, but that energy has aggro behind it. So please be aware of it. I haven't even shown you my cards. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I know. I talked a lot. Now I'm talking to the light bulbs. First card, slowing down. Staying grounded, connected. And again, part of the Scorpio energy is staying connected, grounded in yourself. I really feel like Scorpio really connects to the root chakra of everything, which connects to our survival and just like the presence of being here. So tune in, connect in with that. Stay on the sunny side. Here we have the Innocence card. This is the Sun card, which some people say that is one of the best cards of the deck, right? And so this is reminding us, speaking of the me and the we, We are all the teacher and we are all the student, and we're here for each other. We're here to work together. So keep that in mind. We have the mind card in reverse. Mental energies are gonna be strong, but also wonky. So please utilize your discernment. Use your inner psychic detective. We all have one. There's Scorpio in all of us somewhere. This is also part of our growth. Speaking of that Kundalini energy, I always talk about this card as a card of lessons. It's experiencing. What you're experiencing, it may not be the funnest. I don't think that the world is at its funnest point right now. I will say that. I will hazard to say that. I will hazard that a large part of you probably agree, if not all of you. However, this is all part of our growth. So how do we keep, I don't know, our inner energies rising, working with us, helping us step into our power? The final card is the Harmony card, and this feels kind of like the me and the we energies. Things might get a little caustic is the word that I'm hearing with these energies, and with the reaction, and with the 0 Mercury. It's never just one thing, right? It's all of this together. So be really aware of that. Thank you, lights. Speaking of Kundalini energy, some may even say that part of it is the rising of the Christ consciousness within you, and that is essentially the card. We have the Christ flame for today from Journey of Love, and it says, within you burns the flame of Christ. Beyond religion, this flame belongs to all hearts willing to receive the divine, opening to it as a lever would open the heart to receive the beloved. Through the awakening of the Christ within brings, though, see, Mercury's already playing. Though the awakening of the Christ within brings greater closeness to the divine, and therefore greater love and depth of compassion, it too can bring sadness, righteous anger, and a passionate need to contribute positive healing action and change in the world. Hello, yes. You may be an introspective soul who does this through mastering your own inner world with meditation, yoga, raising your own vibration with absolute intent that this bring healing to the world around you. You may be an extroverted soul that thrives in sharing messages and living a life of dynamic action in support of the causes that are worthy and moving to your brave heart, capable of feeling divine outrage and responding with inspired action. You may be a combination of these soul types and choosing wisely what you consume, which companies you support, what television you do or do not watch, and what you read, voting for the life you want to have around you in the world through your actions, internal and external. This is the Christ flame igniting within you, setting the world aflame with the fire of divine love. This oracle brings guidance that you are connecting with the universal Christ consciousness, and your heart is meant to awaken as a sacred heart, bearing the Christ flame of divine love this lifetime. Thank you. You are part of the wave of awakening happening on Earth now. You are exactly where you're meant to be and doing exactly what you're meant to be doing. Keep going. So, here we go, in this together, into this full moon energy. Please, again, stay grounded, keep your awareness. These energies, Aries can be violent, Scorpio can be violent, any sign can be violent, again. But specifically, these energies can be aggro, and this isn't about bringing fear, but really your present awareness, and that's important. So, gonna leave that there for today. You can book a reading or a clearing if you are needing support in these energies, in these times. Reach out. I have so many ways I can support you. Besides that, the better it gets, the better it gets. There's more than enough love in the world for you. You have the power, and may your guiding light be strong and communicate with you when you need it. And know that you can trust your process. Namaste.